Welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and physical production junior asset coordinize the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com. I'm
Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
That's right, and we are deep into it. We're almost through the credits. We're at minute 140.
So close. Almost there, in the words of a famous... Who does say that? Who does say almost there? Is it Red Leader?
Darth Vader, right? Princess Leia?
No, who does say it? Is it Red Leader? Or Gold Leader?
It is... now you're pressing me because I'm like...
I think Red Leader is almost there, and Gold Leader is stay on target.
Yeah.
Stay on target.
Right, almost there, and he... Then he shoots and pulls up negative. Yeah. Didn't go in. It just impacted on the surface. Anyway.
Oh, the good old days.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about minute 140 of Star Wars Episode 9 and the Rise of Skywalker. 140 starts with the model CFX paint finishers. No, CFX model paint finishers. I'm having trouble reading my notes on that one. And it ends with transportation. And, so it's a good chunk of the people doing the things here. As we've said all week, it's the people doing things. Now, I of course have my list of Pete's, but before we get to that, do we have any other credits that we wanted to talk about? I have one notable one just in terms of...
I have a few.
Okay, good.
I've been highlighting curious jobs, a lot of these things... or things, lighting, we pretty much know what that is. But things that I was, surprised about. Mm-hmm. Like, whose personal assistants get credited on the movie? J.J. Abrams has 3 personal assistants plus an on-set assistant.
Ooh.
I don't know what the other, is there like a...
Right. Those are those home assistants. Those are the people, like, feeding the cat while he's away filming.
Oh, I see, yeah. But they cannot come on the set. Like if they have to bring something to Mr. Abrams, they have to hand it off to their personal assistant.
To the other assistant, the on-set assistant, yeah.
Mr. Boyega, Mr. Driver, Mr. Hamill. Mr. Hamill's personal assistant, of course, Chelsea Hamill.
That was my one credit note is that Chelsea gets like an upgrade, I feel like. Yeah, I don't remember if she was listed as Chelsea Elizabeth Hamill in previous...
Maybe
movies,
someone else,
but,
someone in the union got the Chelsea Hamill claim. And Isaac Asimov, and of course John Williams, one of the few all the other behind the scenes people were people I did not recognize, producers and whatnot. But John Williams, of course, gets a personal assistant.
Is this? I think also the was there Mr. Ford, personal assistant Mr. Ford? Was that in yesterday?
I think that might have been yesterday.
Okay, so we'll cut that bit. It's interesting to see who gets, and I guess that's contractually negotiated.
Yeah.
I get a personal assistant or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to deal with anybody's personal assistant?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
on this very show,
right? Yeah,
some of the more top tier guests in terms of fame, we've dealt with their personal assistants. Not too many though.
No.
Generally, it's so.
Yeah.
And interestingly, we've had this person on the show several times. Every time, a different personal assistant. I don't know if that's typical, whether that's just the kind of thing you just cycle through. No one wants to be a personal assistant for a long time. I imagine.
Long time.
You're kind of.
Yeah, I did have one. One time at Forbidden Planet, we were contacted by somebody's personal assistant who were like, "Oh, this pretty well-known celebrity, needs some. They're going to be on SNL this weekend, and they need something as like a prop for like a thing. Do you have that? It was like it was a superhero shirt, I think. And we were like, yeah, of course, we got that. We'll set one aside. And they were very like, okay, well, thank you. Can you put it aside and do that? But, and it went through the whole thing very like, sort of like, this must be a. And then, that that person just kind of wanders in because they're cool and just kind of like, wandering around looking at stuff. And then they're like, hey, do you guys have, I was like, oh yeah, your assistant called and we set it aside. He's like, oh, that like, he was like obviously not happy, not unhappy with his assistant, but he was like, that guy's going above and beyond. And he didn't need to make a big deal out of it. He was just going to come in and casually get one. And I think, and so.
I'll go you one farther and say he totally told his personal assistant to, first of all, it wasn't his personal assistant, it was him. And then second of all, he said that to make it seem like, oh man, I'm just a regular guy.
Right,
personal assistant, oh man. Didn't Jimmy Pardo say that's what the guy from Styx used to do?
Oh, really?
He'd call up the record store and say, hey, Dennis DeYoung's going to be coming in, so I just want to let you know if you want to have extra security or anything. Right. And he's like, I think we're okay. And so, yes.
Yeah.
Also, Daisy Ridley gets a personal assistant, a driver, not Adam Driver, I assume, and also a personal trainer. That makes sense because she's got a lot of physical stuff in there, and I guess she's the star. Would you say she's the star of the movie?
Well, not in credits order, but yeah, in terms of like focus,
screen time, and focus.
Yeah, I think she's fourth in credits order, but but she's the protagonist certainly.
Yes.
Adam Driver doesn't get a driver.
No, just not mentioned anyway. You think he does his own driving?
I guess so.
He's the driver.
It's like, don't you know who I am?
I'm the driver.
Yeah. Well, that's notable.
And also continuing the theme of people who get credits, but the musicians are not credited. There are there's the personal chefs of the production are mentioned, and there are 22 people in charge of just greenery, not with the chefs, not just salads.
Right, salads.
It just shows you the scope of a production like this, that they have 22 people who are just in charge of plants and all that kind of stuff. Like, and you don't even think like, oh, Rise of Skywalker, that movie with all the plants, right? It doesn't. You doesn't even stick in your head at all.
I mean, I guess there was the scene with like the training scene with the vines and stuff like that, but still, I don't know if that's 20 people deep. And you're right, like that. The fact that we can look up, who worked on that, but we don't know who played the French horn for the, the staring at the sunset or sunrise. People corrected us. Now it's a sunrise, I guess.
Oh wait, is it?
Yeah, we've been corrected. Apparently, it's supposed to be a sunrise, so it's supposed to be a mirror, like
Oh, in Rise of Skywalker,
yes.
not in.
No, not in Star Wars. It's definitely a sunset.
It's funny. You would think it would be the opposite, because if it's like a new dawn for Luke and he's like the start of a new thing, you think it would be a rising sun.
Yeah. No, here's where all the trouble starts.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah.
I also learned a very interesting factoid. Why this is the perfect place for it.
Sure.
In one of the background actors playing a First Order officer is an actress by the name of Sally Guinness, who happens to be the granddaughter of Alec Guinness.
Granddaughter.
That's ironic considering the whole thing. I think she was actually the offspring of the clone of Alec Guinness.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We'll
OB2.
Yeah, and so I thought I'm surprised they didn't capitalize on that more.
Yeah.
Like that seems like it would be kind of a
little featurette thing or whatever,
like Lord, they should have had the Billy Lord and Chelsea Hamill and all the offspring of the
hanging out.
She hasn't done a huge amount of acting. She was in an episode of Black Mirror where she played an executioner. And her IMDb page, the trivia about her, I would say 2/3 of it are she is the first cousin of this person. She is the niece of this person. And I suspect all those things were put in by the people who are being cited. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's my cousin.
Yeah. So, well, that's everything I have specific to this. Oh, one more person to thank for their service. Sure. Ruth Moss, the psychotherapist for the whole production. So you could imagine she was probably pretty busy during this.
Could be.
During the shoot. So, anywho, what do you got on your end of the docket?
Well, I'm going to go to my list of Pete's for the week. No, for the day. Wrapping up the week's list of Pete's. We have we've got it's a few. I've got a handful here. Not like yesterday, but
handful of Pete's.
Handful of Pete's.
Let's say a fistful of Pete's.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Well, starting with a fistful, here we've got security coordinator. Now here's a if somebody's name is Simeon, you say Simeon, you say Simon.
Simeon?
It's like Simon, but with an E in the middle of it.
I would say, at least in America, I would say Simeon, because like San Simeon, where Hearst lived, was San Simeon. So I'm going to say Simeon.
So Simeon.
But I can easily see it being something different in another
language.
Simeon.
Security coordinator, Simeon Peters. So he's a last name qualifier.
Simon Peters.
And now here, there's a chunk of Carpenters. We got a bunch of credits for Carpenters. I was like, Carpenters, I've said this before. I'm like, here's where I expect, there's laborers where I expect some Pete's. I expect some, some very earthy names in there. No, not a carpenter to be had.
By the way, I want to give a tip of the hat to your use of a chunk of carpenters. That is the technical term for a group of carpenters.
So that was when Karen Carpenter and it was the band was actually a chunk.
Oh man, I don't think Karen took that the wrong way.
But no carpenters, but we got plasterers. Which I guess that makes sense. Peter, the name means stone or rock. So plaster is kind of making stuff out of earth. Carpenter, that's Jesus's thing. Gotta let him do that. Plasterers, we got Peter Langford, Peter McCarroll, Peter Pugh, three of them. Pew. And then, hey, this is going back to what you were talking about, all the people in charge of all the trees and plants and stuff like that. One of the Key Greensman.
That's his name?
Key Greensman sounds like a name. It sounds like it would be. I don't know if it's Star Warsy enough, but it sounds like somebody's, an actor would be Key Greensman.
Sounds like a sports player to me.
Maybe, yeah. Key Greensman. Or a former sports player who's now a commentator.
Yeah, and his real name is something like Peter, but everyone just calls him Key because he was the key player.
Oh, there you go. Or he was always like in the key. He was always in the.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All sorts of names we could do. Key
Greensman, Peter Hooper.
Hooper.
But so that's what is that? One last name and 4 first name Peters. All Peters in this one, I guess. So there you go. But
I have to as we periodically check in, I have to do your children have a lot of Peters in there, or do you encounter a lot of young Peters, children named Peter, or variants?
I can't think of one.
All right.
I've said, in my I don't know if it was in every school, but definitely in when I was in, let's say, 10th grade, there was one in each grade. There was even distribution of Pete's. There was a senior, there was a junior, there was me, there was a freshman. We had one. We kept tabs on each other. We're like, how's it going over there? Yeah. We were one Pete assigned to each grade, but I feel like it's not, it's not disappeared, the name, but it's definitely not as popular as it once was, I don't think.
I wonder if it's been designated as a middle name kind of name. It's kind of old school, we're naming it after his uncle.
No, but old school stuff is in, right? Everybody was named like, Eunice.
No, but I mean like biblical old school, not like Mortimer. I mean like,
Oh, it's too like 50s. It's too like, it's too boomer. The boomer names are on the outs. There you go. All right. Bad news, everybody. Boomer names are on the outs. Yeah, we've
so long trying to think of a good boomer name.
Well,
Cameron,
I mean, some of them are. I think feels like some of them are kind of on the outs, ready to come back in. Like Irving and Carl. Have we had any Carls? I know a Carl is like 20. I think.
I feel like Carl might still be a thing.
But it's a family. He's had other Carls in his family, so it's like But yeah. Other than that, that's my Pete report for the day. And nothing else to that. Model paint finishers is always fun. It's one of those things. You look at the credits and you're like, how did that person get there? That's an interesting. Like, what are the windows that opened that person is just like, yeah, I'm going to paint models as a career. That seems great. Good for them.
Yeah. It's really like that old school ILM kind of stuff where it's just these nerds who've been working in their basement watching Ray Harryhausen movies. Now suddenly someone's going to pay you to do it. So.
And I didn't have I didn't list the person's name for some reason, but at the top of the show, my thing, the physical production junior asset coordinator, is the longest credit that I could find. I think in the whole week.
Nice. What is it? What's the words again? I'm trying to come up with a good initial.
Physical production.
PR.
No, so production. Okay. PP.
Oh, PP.
Production, not reduction. Physical production junior asset coordinator. It's a PP Jack. Yeah.
Oh, Jack, even better.
PP Jack.
PP Jack.
Who's the PP Jack on this one? All right.
I'm PP Jack. I'm Key Matthews, or whatever the other guy's name was.
Greensman.
Key Greensman.
And this is 60 Minutes. But yes, other than that, I think that's it for credits. Do you have anything else? We got...
Well, I feel like we're a little short on time, so I was going to continue with some of the IMDb trivia I've been sprinkling around all week to fill in. And of course, it's the IMDb trivia section put up by the people, so take everything with a grain of salt as to...
Get your salt ready, everybody.
Get your salt ready. The Rise of Skywalker, third most expensive film ever made.
That's... okay. I mean, I guess.
Do you want to guess what the first currently, as of 2023, is the most expensive movie ever made?
Now, is this not adjusted, right?
No. Well, they're all recent enough where it probably will not make a huge.
Is it Avatar: The Way of Water?
Also, Rise of Skywalker is $416 million.
Okay.
It was not Avatar: Way of Water.
Okay. Is it something? Is it like Fast 10?
It is. No, it is not that.
Okay.
But it is a the top two are franchise films.
Oh, is it is it Infinity War? Or the other one?
That is the most expensive back-to-back productions ever made.
All right, those are my 3 strikes. I give up. What do we got?
All right, number 2, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, I thought this was number 2.
Oh, that was number 2, and the number 1 most expensive film ever made, The Force Awakens.
Oh,
at $447 million.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if Rise of Skywalker feels more expensive. I mean, I guess there's a lot more sets and they go a lot more places, which would mean more sets, more greensmen, more all this stuff. So,
although they could reuse like a lot of the, Force Awakens budget is pre-production, stuff that they had to like start from scratch on things. Where here it's like, oh, we already have that Millennium Falcon. Let's just reuse it.
Yeah, and Kijimi was really just kind of one room and a bunch of.
Yeah,
that was clearly a film on a set, not on on a location shooting. So anyway. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
I'm guessing per pound TFA probably paid off a little better
for British pound.
But, yeah, they don't use the euro anymore. Here's another one. Ian McDermott has this is just kind of like a weird observation. When Ian McDermott played,
really more of a comment than a question.
Yeah, when he first played Palpatine, he was a young man playing an old man because he was fairly young. Then the second time he played him, he was a older man playing a younger Sheev. And finally, in this movie, he was an old Sheev playing an even older Palpatine. So finally, balance was restored to the Force. It's hard to think of other people who could accomplish such a.
Did they do any on Golden Girls? Did they do any flashback scenes with Sophia being like young in Sicily? I know she talked about it all the time, referenced it, but did they ever do any like flashback scenes of her like?
It seems like a natural since she was playing old. She was graying up. So
I mean, but they didn't want to. I guess they didn't want to break the illusion.
I
don't know.
Yeah. Then you have like Vicki Lawrence, who was a young woman playing Mama, an old woman, and then now I think she's probably older than Mama was when she started.
Right. Yeah.
Doing it. So,
or would you count like, yeah, you could do stuff like Harrison Ford, who was young and then did one episode where he played old, really old Indiana Jones. And then now he was also recently playing old Indiana Jones, and then they threw in scenes of flashback scenes of him playing young Indiana Jones. They digitally de-aged him to do that.
Did he play super old?
Yeah, didn't he?
I thought the super old Indiana Jones was a different actor.
I don't know. I thought it was
with a big bushy beard and eye patch and all sorts of stuff.
One of them was him. There's one
part where he plays a saxophone.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Harrison Ford will put well, it's the Indiana Jones boys. They can probably provide us a better answer to that question. I guess because it really has to be a character who's been around a long time, long enough where the actor who played him can her can age. But yeah, I'm wondering if like a Harry Potter person did it.
Not that I can think of. They did like, I don't think they went back and did young version, but like some of the Star Trek actors, they were, there was the episode where they got aged in the original series, and so they went and played old versions of themselves then, and now they're older than those old versions of themselves, I think, for the most part, but they didn't really.
How do you feel about like when they have a young actor and they recast versus having the older actor just wear makeup and look younger? I guess it really depends on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. I think the ideal thing is when they have a son or daughter that can play the part. You know what I mean? When you get family involved in there, that's always fun. Like when you get,
like Billy Lord.
Right. Like if they had Billy Lord playing young Princess Leia at some point, that would make...
Yeah.
That would be like, okay, nobody can argue with that more. I mean, you could, but, why would you?
Yeah. People will, but
yeah, sure.
Nevertheless, it's harder to argue with that one because
right.
Can't see her disrespecting her memory when it's her own daughter.
Or secret brothers and sisters. That's always fun too. Like we mentioned,
like Marie.
Well, yeah. But like when it's like somebody like Boner Bane or when somebody has a twin that you don't even know about, but they brought them in to be like a body double in some episodes or something like that.
Or like on Arrested Development where they had Justine Bateman come on.
Oh no, that too, yeah, to play.
That was kind of the opposite. We all knew they were brother and sister, and that's what made it creepy. But in real life, it was. The other thing I found interesting was apparently they asked Ian McDermott, "Hey, come on, be in Rise of Skywalker," and he's like, "Nah, I'm not interested in doing that anymore." And they offered him more money, and he's like, all right, I guess I can do it one more time. But it made me wonder, what if he had said no? Or what if any of the old school actors did not want to come back to their part? Other than a holdout of Dennis Lawson, and even he eventually caved in.
Right.
I haven't heard anything about any of the people even wanting to hold out particularly long.
No.
Maybe Harrison Ford would probably be the longest, but clearly he was persuaded.
Well, I mean, Palpatine would be the easiest because it's supposed to be a clone body anyway. So they could just be like, oh, look, here we go.
Slather prosthetics all over him and, be done.
And you could digitally kind of morph, going back to, here's some 90s technology. You could morph like an old archive footage of Palpatine into the new guy and being like, yes, I'm younger and more powerful now,
Yeah, I wonder if that was what Matt Smith was kind of like their insurance policy, where if Ian McDermott didn't want to do it, they're like, all right, bring in Matt Smith to be the
it could be
Emperor. Then they could use him for both scenes. They could use him for Palpatine, and they could use him for the clone scene,
right?
Where the clone is, saying goodbye.
The Palpatines.
Yeah, but the other ones, I guess, would be harder to work around.
Yeah, although this, you could definitely. I guess there's what you can just blow them up. Blow them up.
Do like a Blofeld and for your eyes only kind of thing.
Exactly.
Just show them from the back and then kill them off immediately.
Yeah. I mean, that's easiest. So, sorry to say, like it'd be easiest, I guess, with like Princess Leia. You just show somebody with buttons, right? Yeah. Like in taking off on a speeder bike and crashing into a tree or something like that.
Or going back to her home planet.
Right. Yeah.
I guess you might not want to kill them just in case they change their mind later on.
Right. Well, but then you can come up with something crazy.
Yeah. totally. Just start over again with a new series. To continue our infuriation at J.J. Abrams, not infuriation, but our eye rolling. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
His dad plays a tech at the Rebel base. I guess that's a little bit more forgivable, I'll say.
Yeah, at least he's not. He didn't give his dad any of Kelly Marie Tran's lines. So.
Yes, as far as we know.
All right, so that's good stuff for that. We got 2 more minutes left, 2 episodes left next week, so we'll save a little bit of trivia for that.
Always 2.
Yeah, we're almost down to the wire. We got two coming up, and after the weekend. So remember, this weekend, hop on over to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon. That it was the prime source of content that we'll be releasing stuff over there during the intervening after this. Once we're done with this, that's where we'll be mostly every week. So if you want to keep tabs on us, we got the Discord. You can talk to us. We got Weekend Edition. We got Weekend Review. We're still alive over there. So
Star Wars Minute.
Head on over there, and we'll see you Monday with a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute. I said it already.